Hey guys, welcome to my conversation with Social Circle head coach Randy Prater. Social Circle, your Georgia 1A state duels champions. Coach, it's been a few years. How does it feel to be back on the top step for duels?
Electric, awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely been planning for this duel for a year, preparing for it. So feels awesome, feels great. Nice to bring one back home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you guys came in. I mean, for those of us on the outside looking in, as pretty much the favorites all year long, what was the conversation with the kids of keeping them focused on the task at hand, the next step, not looking too far ahead?
I'll be honest with you. I would say that probably started when we didn't win. Having a close loss in the semifinals the year before, and if I could be 100% honest with you, it was like dealing with death. Our team was very upset and took it really hard, and our staff took it really hard, and we just sat down and had a real conversation with everybody, and got to focus on what's in front of us, not what's behind us. And, we can't get that back, but we have the traditional that's in front of us, and let's focus on that. And said, next year, the team that we have, let's get it done. Let's do whatever it takes, the off season training. And we started preparing that day.
Well, and you know what? That preparation came through with that traditional title. Your kids looked on point for that run, and that just started the ball rolling down a path that seems like it's been moving pretty well for the last 8, 9 months, 10 months.
Yes, sir. And I'll say I know, you're talking about a traditional title, and a lot of people may say wrestling is an individual sport or see it that way. And I'll tell you, like, for our staff and for our wrestlers, we are very fortunate to have selflessness in our program, and it's something that the team aspect of it is something that our kids feed off of, whether that's duels or in traditional. It's about, not just about one person, it's about the individual. And, I think about last year winning traditional, Lance Stacker didn't win a state title and he was a returning state champ, but he was more happy to win the team state title than he was for his own self, and that's just one kid on our team, or that was on our team in our program. But that was all of us, everybody was one goal, one mission, and that's what we wanted to achieve, and we were able to do it. And to do it this year with duels just made it that much sweeter. It's awesome.
Yeah, so we interact a lot, and I watched your team, and you have that culture, you have that family. I mean, it kind of comes across. Is there something that happens that's special in the room, or the type of kids you have, or the type of staff you have that kind of fosters that?
I think it's all of that. I mean, if you look at our staff, I think we have one of the best staffs in the state. I've surrounded myself with a lot of coaches that honestly are more talented than I am. I'm not intimidated by that one bit. They've made our program better, and I want that. I want what's best for Social Circle, and the coaches that I have around me have made our program better. And
Yeah.
and and I think it's there's no ego in the thing. You have Coach Etheridge, who's had 20 years as a head coach, all of his experience. Coach Cheney, 25 years of head coaching experience. Coach Strom, who's been coaching wrestling over 20 years. Coach Hooley, we've added Coach Fordham to our program, Coach Wells on our middle school program. So we have all these head coaches on staff, but nobody is caught up in ego, or it's got to come from me, or anything like that. It's all of us rowing in the same direction for the same common goal, and that's to make kids better at wrestling. But not only that, but to make them better in life. And it even starts in our USA program with Coach Klein and Emery Klein, and what they do in our USA program in our off season. Coach Klein does a lot of stuff with our program in the off season, going to AU Nationals and Virginia Beach, and things that we can't do as GHSA coaches that he can do in the off season. and it's all for preparation for what just happened. It's all for state, traditional state. So we all have that same common goal. So all the things that happen outside of our season and before and after, preseason, postseason, it's all for that. And it's for, like you said, the family, the community. It's for our fans. If you watch when we come home, we win a state title. We take that trophy and we sit it down in the middle of the four-way in Social Circle. And that's not just for Social Circle Wrestling. That's for the entire community. That's for the city of Social Circle. That's for all of our fans and board level teachers, every kid in the school. We take pride in that. Kids that are in our school can say, "Hey, when we were in school, we had a team that won state."
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do. And I know there was a time where we were fortunate enough to go on a nice long run,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably didn't allow myself to enjoy those as much as I probably should have. Trying to stay humble and trying to make sure I stayed hungry, but you don't realize how special it is until it doesn't happen, and then you're like, "Man, this may never happen again." So I'm telling you right now, I'm making sure every time we win one, I'm going to make sure we celebrate and enjoy it. I mean, I think anybody that knows us, our staff, or we're humble.
Yeah.
We're definitely confident in our wrestling and things like that. But we're not trying to be boastful or brag. We just are excited about what we've accomplished.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you guys came in and there was like a laser focus, it seems to me, that you're putting up 58-18 on Dade County, and then you're beating Commerce by a healthy margin, and you're beating a good Pisgah squad in the finals. Your kids, it seemed like every single one of them kind of knew their job and kind of what they needed to do. Can you talk a little bit about your seniors that were on the squad and kind of talking to the rest of the squad about how we all have a role to play?
100%. So in regards to our seniors, we have 4 seniors on the team. You got Connor Castillo, who's state champ there. You got Braden Mitchell, state champ. And then you got Caden Prater, state placer, and Sean Cruz, also state placer.
Mm-hmm.
And between those guys, between those 4 guys, all of them have hit 150 wins this year, this senior year. So
How fun.
you've got, yeah, pretty cool. So, over 600 wins between those 4. So definitely kids that have put a lot of work in, through middle school, USA, all those things, all the way to this point. So great leaders, and not just in their wrestling, but in the classroom. I mean, these kids make good grades, and yes, we want to be champions, but we also want to be champions in everything we do. In the classroom, and that's kind of something we live by. They trust the staff, they trust the decisions that we make. They know that it's for the betterment of the team. So whether we're bumping you a weight class or whatever that is, we're also fortunate that we have such large numbers within our program because we run 2 varsity teams. At times people make JV out to be a bad thing, or if you're not the starter, it's a bad thing. But those guys are important. And sometimes you have a kid that's on your team or in your room that he may not be the guy, but you need him in that duel because he can go out and not get pinned and just be stingy and keep a match really tight with a state champ. And sometimes that's what it takes to win. It takes those guys,
Right.
So it's that selfless mentality, and kids and parents and everybody within our program have bought into that.
So I don't want to like go through all the names and all the different things, but I have been paying attention. You got some young kids, that next group, the Hargroves down low, a Loudon Etheridge, CJ Duran, James Severs. This is they didn't wrestle like young, new into the fire. They wrestled tough. That's got to make you feel pretty confident moving forward.
Definitely very confident moving forward with what we have, and excited about it. And what the future holds. I mean, those young guys, they're young, but man, they can scrap. They're really talented kids, but I think they're not satisfied or complacent. I think they all know that they've got room to improve and things to improve on, and always work to get better. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my last question is that how you know you had a dominating dual run, and it started with last year's traditional state tournament. How do you pivot now? And they had a little bit of chip on their shoulder about not winning duels last year. How do you maintain that momentum? What's the message in the room to them that we still have work to do heading forward?
I mean, that was pretty much the conversation that we had on the bus ride home. Even though we're celebrating and enjoying the moment, the big question I said to the guys, I said, listen, we've got you've earned a ring, you've got a state ring. The question now is, what will it say on that ring? Is it just going to say duels, or is it going to say duels and traditional? So, I think that kind of refocused them a little bit, and thinking like, hey, there's still more out there to get. We're not done yet. And we definitely want that, So last year's ring, it just said traditional. And I think, we all agree and we all desire for it to say both,
Yeah.
Nothing's handed to you, nothing's easy, and anything can happen. And, you never know what the outcome's going to be, but that's what we're working towards and trying to do and accomplish. And, I believe we can. Class A wrestling is tough. Class A wrestling is tough. And, we're going to have to keep plugging away, keep getting better each week and peak at the right time. And, now it's just a little different because it's more of, but there's still that team aspect to it. And our kids feed off of that. They really do. I mean, I think that if you were to ask any kid in our program, the true selflessness, like if you had a choice, if you could choose to be an individual champion or win a team state title, which one would you choose?
You broke up a little bit, but I got that, Coach. You're focused on the team, that sort of thing. So the last question I'm going to ask you. Can you hear me? Are we good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Last question is, Coach Etheridge, what's a question I should have asked Coach Prater that I didn't ask Coach Prater?
What's that? What's a question
I should have asked that I didn't ask?
Ask him how stressed he was a week before state duels.
All right, Coach.
Yeah, duels definitely stress me out. I think duels, there's so much coaching and strategy involved and running your lineup and moves that you make and things that you do, backups or insert and bump and winning so many different scenarios. But I will say this, I'm fortunate to have a staff I do. The guys around me, man, they do such a good job of keeping me level-headed and not overthinking things and staying calm and talking through things. Just everything we do, everything, studying, looking up other teams, and we go into every event just well prepared and knowing all aspects that we need to know. Even when we went to Cleveland, Tennessee, and we suffered our first dual meet loss there. And listen, that's why we went to Cleveland. We went there to get our team beat. That was the goal for us as coaches. Like, we need to suffer a loss before we get to the state tournament. How do we respond from that loss? How, what do we do? Kids respond. We respond to this coaches. It's not just for them. Yeah, that's we me make the best decisions. It's a collective thing. And I don't know.
I got you.
Here, Coach Etheridge has something to say. Hey, you're cutting me out, obviously, right? You're gonna chop this up.
Sure.
I don't care if you keep him in it. I think it's pretty good. No.
I wanted to ask you the question of what I should ask, so I want to include that.
Coach, our young guys can go. This group, this younger group we got, they can scrap. Like they can go. Like we need to. We're gonna have to put some miles on the old yellow bus here in the next couple years. I'm gonna tell you that.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Well,
Yeah,
Coach, I was just gonna say I wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're doing 100 different things. So finding time to be able to have the conversation with me. What's the last thing you were gonna say before we hang up?
No, I was just saying, coach is exactly right. We got to stretch our legs and travel and do some things. We did 3 out of state tournaments this year. And that was good, but we need to start stretching our legs and going even further. And just coming back from USA state duels, with our middle school team wrestling, and they had some close losses and some duels today, but it was awesome, and we were there to cheer them on and be there for them and stuff like that, and that was awesome. And backyard brawlers, they won in their division for the elementary school club. They beat Roundtree in the finals, and that was awesome. And those are all our kids, so it's exciting to see what the future holds, what we have coming. So really exciting.
Well, the future definitely looks bright for Social Circle. There is no doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and answering all the questions. And I want to wish you guys the best of luck over the next few weeks. I will see you in Macon, and we'll see about hoisting another trophy, Coach.